Hey everyone, Michael Pickens here with the Libertarian Leadership, supposed to be weekday live streams. I had Tony Williams scheduled for yesterday, and we had some issues. I had some issues with internet, so we pushed it to Saturday today. And I'm here with Tony. Tony is running for Justice of the Peace in the Caddo Parish in Louisiana. Tony has been an active commenter on a lot of the live streams, and I appreciate that. He's a PhD. He's served in the military for 22 years. He is super active in his community, someone that I've been looking forward to interviewing. So, Tony, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so tell me, why are you running for Justice of the Peace?
Well, to begin with, it's a position here that I think can be very instrumental in bringing swift and affordable justice to people in Caddo Parish. And it's a position that people just don't know a lot about. So, as I was going around with the various organizations that I work with, it came to my attention that most people had no idea what a justice of the peace was or who their justice of the peace is. So that gave me, I think, an opportunity to start educating people as we talk in person and online. And that's what really made me want to kind of jump in and try to render that service, because I figured as a justice of the peace, not only could I bring the justice to people at a very economical price, but also I can continue to work in the community so that they'll know who their justice of the peace is.
So, in Washington State, where I live, the Justice of the Peace position doesn't exist. So, can you explain what a Justice of the Peace does for those of you, for the people watching who don't know?
Oh, certainly. So basically, and it does vary state to state, because there's definitely some states that have justices of the peace, some that don't. So here in Caddo Parish, the justices of the peace actually have several functions that they can perform. So obviously, they do a lot of the basic things like performing weddings and notarizing documents. But on the legal side, they can actually adjudicate any type of cases that are non-criminal, that doesn't exceed $5,000 in monetary value. They can also, in certain cases, issue peace bonds and things like that. So it's a way to handle lower level legal activity without having to go through the city or the parish level, where the cost is astronomically more, and the wait could be longer, because a lot of those dockets are just bloated, and you might wait months to a year for a hearing. Whereas with a justice of the peace, you can get one a lot quicker, and more economically to the person.
Yeah, so explain adjudicated, right? What does that mean? Um,
Yeah, so basically, the way I'm trying to approach it, especially from a libertarian perspective, is looking at bringing people in when they have, because a lot of this is, neighbor issues, property line issues, or even eviction issues. But it's looking at bringing people together and trying to actually, to an extent, mediate and help them work their issues out, remembering that
gotcha.
these are our neighbors and their neighbors. So I think that's what I would look to do, is to not be so quick as to find people and try to just, quote unquote, bring down the hammer of justice, but to actually take a more libertarian approach and say, we all have to live together. So if we can come up with a way of, coming up with an agreement that you both can live with and make happen, it doesn't require me to have to make a decision that may financially burden someone, and maybe even mess up a relationship.
Yeah, it's surprising to me because you see these videos online and these neighbors are fighting, over their property lines and sprinkler systems and their dog going in the yard. And it's like, these are your neighbors, right? You should be getting along with them. And if nothing's happening where people are getting hurt, let's give them some grace, right?
Right, exactly. Because I think we're too quick to want to punish each other, and of course, our system, it's a money generating system. So it's very easy to go somewhere and have to pay a couple of thousand for court fees, get fined a few thousand, and at a justice of the peace level, you're talking maybe $100 to file a claim, and trying to basically come to a resolution in the fastest and most peaceful way. So I think it could really do some good with just bringing the community closer together and how we treat each other, but also not putting each other in debt in the process.
Yeah, well, I agree. I don't know what your religious background is, but there's a quote that I really like. It's called "Love thy neighbor," right? And
That's right. That's right.
that's how we should be treating each other, okay? And if someone, if someone makes a mistake and they build their fence a foot over into the property line, it's like, do we need to go to court? Do we need to do some of these things? Yeah, maybe it needs to get fixed, and but at least let's give people some grace in the process.
Yes, my point exactly, and that's what I would be hoping to bring to the justice system here locally if I can win the vote of my fellow Caddo citizens.
Yeah. So, how many people vote in this election?
So we have a lot of elections actually going on right now, but this election in particular, there's no primary, so it's only a general election on November 3rd. And our parish is, of course, broke down several ways. So there's districts for the commission and districts for the council and all of this. So with the justice of the peace position, we have wards, and some wards are bigger than others. So my ward actually is broken in half to where we actually elect two justices of the peace. So because of just the geographical, I think, disbursements of people. So from what I'm understanding, there's about maybe 12,000 people within Ward 3, but based on us having two justices of the peace and the way it's broke down, we're looking at roughly, 4,000 voting people based on like some of the historical trends.
Oh, fantastic. So you have like an ability to win this election that isn't going to cost you $100,000. Like you are positioned to where you could be elected just by going and knocking on doors.
Well, yes, I believe so. Because again, when I'm out there, and I just attended a event yesterday, actually at a school. But when I'm out in the community, I'm engaging people one on one, and I'm asking the questions. Who's your justice of the peace? What do you think a justice of the peace can do for you? And when you get those, I don't know who it is, never heard of it. Well, then it opens a door, and at that point, you're educating and campaigning at the same time. And
Yep.
and I had the opportunity to do that yesterday with some adults and students, and thought it was, I really had a good time doing it, and thought that it definitely did some good in just educating our citizens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some other issues that you stand for in regards to this office that you're running for?
Well, a few. So for starters, I'm all about property rights. I do think that I'm not for eminent domain. I see that as pretty much a like a violation of property rights to an extent. I'm definitely for smaller government, and that's being both fiscally conservative and overreach. So I do think that when we see things where our federal government is coming down telling cities how to operate, I don't think that's what it was intended to do. So I'm for that. Property rights, like I said, I don't, to an extent, I don't agree with property taxes once you own property. Because once you own property, it's just like buying a car. Once you bought it, you pay your taxes once you own it. I don't really agree with paying taxes for life on property I own a deed to. So obviously not for that. And when it comes to justice, I'm for, like I said, very equal and fair justice, which is to say it should be fair for everyone and based on the evidence. And I do not like to see when you see two cases and two totally drastic outcomes, because that starts to create doubt in the system, and it makes people question justice. And I think we shouldn't be in that position, because all citizens are entitled to justice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of what the government should be doing, right? And if there's a basic role of government, it should be to mediate, issues like this and come out fairly for both parties.
Right. And I'm all for a due process, and I'm a strong believer in habeas corpus. I think that we should not be doing things like, stop and frisk. And I think that administrative warrants should not be used for criminal activity. That's why we have the normal warrants that have to be signed by judges. And what we see our country do sometimes is use administrative warrants to execute criminal activity, so to speak, or law enforcement, because they're not able to articulate that reasonable doubt in such a way as to get a judge to sign. And I think that the burden of proof is on the government. So if they can't articulate that and they can't get that warrant, well, then they have more work to do. I think using the administrative warrant to enforce that is a way around the system, and it shouldn't occur like it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joseph Lehman, running for Congress in Oregon, says, "Good luck, Tony. Your platform and your ideas sound great." Awesome. Thanks, Joseph.
Oh,
And
thank you.
anyone else? Yeah, anyone else watching right now? If you have any comments, go ahead and put them in, and we'll go ahead and bring them up. Joe Hanush says, "I'm already against the next government tax on the thing I already own."
Oh, I don't blame him. It makes sense, and it's something I still really don't quite understand. It's like how can I, because that's how I explain it to people is, you go to the store, you buy grocery, you pay that tax, and you own it. You're not paying a tax every year for the rest of your life, but somehow in property we feel, our government feels that it's different or it's justified, and I believe it's not.
I agree with you 100%. It's not just property as far as your house, right? But it's, even with vehicle registration. Like we're paying that every single year. It's coming back around just to own a vehicle, to be able to drive and pick our kids up from school and go get groceries and do these things. It just doesn't make much sense, especially since we're paying tax on gas, right? When we go fill up our vehicle, we're paying tax. That should cover the roads. So I'm not sure why we're having to pay vehicle registration every single year.
Right. And all that does is make the American dream that much more elusive, right? Like if you look
Yep.
at a generation or two ago, people were able to get a hardworking job at about 25 or so, maybe get married, buy a house, and it was like the American dream, start that family. And now when you look at the price of housing, the average, income of like a 25-year-old, that American dream is more like at, maybe 40 now. And that's not right. When you look at our life expectancy in America, it's not really much, more than 80. So you're telling people that American dream doesn't come until they're almost, 40.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a direct result of our taxing system and, inflation and all of that kind of coming together to really be a burden on the everyday working, citizen.
Well, let me ask you this. So, Justice of the Peace, it sounds like a lower level position. It's local. You need about 4,000 votes, which is great. Do you have any aspirations after this election, if you win, to maybe run for something bigger in the future?
Oh, well, yes, I do. Because again, I'm very active in the community, and currently I actually sit on three committees that are parish level. Two of them are under the commission, which is a Citizens Disaster Review Committee, as
Okay.
well as so I sit on that, and we do great work with that. And it's all about infrastructure and helping citizens with, water, electric, trying to build our grid out and emergency response. And then with that, with the parish, I'm also on the Veterans Committee. So we do the annual Veterans Day Parade. We recognize veterans, and we also help veterans when they contact us as far as contacting the right organizations to help them with their needs. And the last one is the Caddo Community Action Agency, and it does a lot. So we actually oversee the parish Head Start program, but we also help low-income families with utilities and things of that nature. So having had that experience, I would certainly at some point like to run for a parish commissioner position, which is a higher level position, and it's more into governance versus the justice piece.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Um, so, what are some other things that the Justice of the Peace can do to implement libertarian solutions at the local level?
Well, one thing I don't see them, what I'll tell you is what I could do, because what I don't see
Sure.
them doing is, again, we don't know. A lot of people don't know who their justice of the peace is. I think part of that is the problem is you see a lot of our city councilmen and our parish commissioners, they're out there at events. When there's national disasters, they're out there helping, and they're doing a lot of things to stay out there, unlike a lot of our justices. So as active as I am now is how I would remain. And I think that's a way of being a better justice of the peace and letting them know what you can do for them, because it should be a similar situation where when someone say who's your justice of the peace, you should have an idea of who it is. I mean, if someone you vote for is someone that exercises legal authority within your area, you should know who it is, because they should be out there handing out turkeys on Thanksgiving, handing out water during national disasters, just like all of our other local politicians do, but they don't. So that's what I'm trying to bring to it, is hopefully as other justices of the peace see me doing this, they'll do it also.
Gotcha. So I see, you have a PhD. What is it in?
So basically, so my main two focuses is education and healthcare. So basically, my undergrad is in gerontology. My grad is in healthcare administrations, and I have a postgraduate, which is a education specialist, and it's in curriculum and development. So based on some of my papers and different things I've done to help Kennedy University, I was awarded a honorary PhD in education from Kennedy. So my EDS is actually curriculum based, earned with Liberty and the Liberty University, and the PhD is honorary and it's from Kennedy University. So I do a lot of writings in politics, education, history, and things like that.
So as far as education goes, where do you see the role of personal development? I went through the government education system. There wasn't a whole lot of personal development in there. Are you familiar with that?
Well, I mean, I consider myself to be a lifelong learner. So even though I have the degrees that I have, I've taken a lot of courses online with, especially during the pandemic, and contact tracing, disease containment, and things like that with Harvard, Yale, and John Hopkins. So personally, I'm always looking for ways to continue to learn and grow. I would assume on the political side, I like to see a bigger emphasis on ethics training and education, because it seems like our system doesn't really focus on that a lot. But we should. We should.
Yeah, absolutely. There needs to be more politicians that are educated on ethics, that are less in it for themselves and more in it for their community, right? Because right now we've got way too many politicians and not enough statesmen.
That's true. And I think our system, unfortunately, enables it. But I'd like to see us go to putting term limits on everything. And I think that would be a good way to kind of combat it. Because if you look at Louisiana, practically everything in Louisiana that you can vote for is term limited, except for the justice of the peace, actually. So there's no jobs you can elect to and stay in for life. At some point, you do term out. And I think that that's a great example that should go nationwide. I think no one should be able to continuously be indefinitely elected to a position.
Yeah, we're seeing that all across the country when you have, you know, Congress people and senators that have been elected 10 plus times, right? They're
Right.
obviously working for special interests, not working for the people. And what I like to call it, and I'm sure you have heard me say this, is we live in an oligarchy with extra steps, because once they're elected, now they have 2 years or 4 years to do whatever it is they want. And the way that the laws are set up is that anyone that tries to challenge them, they're in for a rough ride. It's very difficult to challenge a sitting congressperson or a sitting senator, or even at the local level, right?
Well, that's true. I think the incumbents definitely have the better hand, and even something as simple as qualifying. A lot of areas make that hard by putting information on various websites instead of one. So I agree 100% that the system is kind of built for the incumbent, and even when you look at qualification fees, right? Some places make the qualification fee almost like a poll tax, because if it's high enough, you're going to automatically basically disenfranchise people on certain socioeconomic statuses from even running. So yeah, so I think term limits, we definitely need them nationwide. Even qualifying, I think it should not be to where it excludes people. I think anyone who would like to attain public office and serve their community should be able to give it an honest run.
Yeah, absolutely. Filing fee to run for Congress like $1,700. It's like who has an extra $1,700 just sitting around for a run for Congress, let alone all the money that's going to be needed to even get your name out there.
Right, that's right. Because these senators and congressmen, they'll hear 1,700 and not bat an eye. But if you look at I'm looking at my local area here in Caddo Parish. Like you said, everyone's not walking around ready to cut a $1,700 check, but we have people that are ready to try to serve their community and make their city a little better. You know what I mean? I think we have to try to get rid of all those barriers that stop that opportunity from the everyday citizen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been involved in signature gathering campaigns for the Libertarian Party and presidential candidates, just to get them on the ballot. It's such a barrier to entry that the average person just can't make it happen.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's definitely an unfortunate piece of our system because, like I said, even with me, I found myself visiting the Caddo Parrish website, the Louisiana State website, and trying to compare the rules and the directions. And luckily, I just had enough time to do it because I was dedicated in doing it. But everyone doesn't have that time to conduct the research. It should be a centralized location, step by step, and it should be something that anyone can do. And I think the moment it becomes something that everyone can't do, then that's the moment that we're looking at possibly citizens not enjoying their full freedoms that are guaranteed to them by our founding documents.
Absolutely. Joe Hanush says it's nearly $7,000 just to get your name on the ballot for Congress here in Florida. Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. Right, because even our founding fathers, right? All of them mostly had actual jobs. Politics wasn't their actual sole job. They had actual jobs, and I think that's something we have to get back to. Is we pay our politicians so much that they can just survive off of staying in office, and I think that if that wasn't the case, that would drastically change how they perform and who's running. So maybe something to look at as we continue to find ways to get physically conservative and try to, actually work within a budget. Maybe we look at cutting some of these bloated salaries.
Yeah, absolutely. I live in a county with, 23,000 people, and our county commissioners are making, with benefits and everything else, over six figures. And it just doesn't make any sense. You got the people that are struggling, but the politicians and the ones working for government, they're not struggling at all.
Right. And that's one thing I'm proud to say about this position. If, like I said, if I'm lucky enough to win the vote of my fellow citizens, is that the justice of the peace here in Caddo is not a salary position. It's just a small stipend, and everything else is practically, out of pocket and based on the service you render. So to me, that makes me more comfortable running for it because I know that I'm not about to make any kind of substantial money or find myself questioning my own ethics. Because I've had a chance to sit down with one of the current justices of the peace, and we had a great talk. And I mean, she's come out of pocket a lot to kind of perform her duty in an honorable way. And it really inspired me having that opportunity to speak with her. And that's exactly the situation I would be in, is that, you get this small stipend and then it basically is based on your actual performance. It's not some set big salary where you're walking away at the end of the year making, six figures, like, some of the maybe city councilmen or the commissioners and stuff.
Yeah. So Jordan Lott says, how do we as libertarians help libertarian candidates win and be successful? Tony would have my vote. Vote libertarian.
Hey, I thank you. And I think that's the way we need to pull together. And I've been talking with other libertarians now that I'm out there as one. I'm starting to attract more, and I've had a couple mention possibly running. So I'm hoping that we can get more to run. And I think that it's power in numbers. And once a few of us are running, we can help each other out. We can share each other's message. We can show up to each other's events. And I think that's how we help other libertarians is we have to be there for each other, but we have to be out there in the public so that we can see each other. And I think when we know that we're out there, that's when the cohesiveness can start, and then we can make the Libertarian Party an actual formidable, candidate or party to be dealt with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Visibility, credibility, profitability. And then in politics, the visibility is getting your name out there, shaking hands, running some campaign ads, doing whatever you got to do. That's where the credibility comes in, because when you're shaking someone's hand, they're meeting you in person, or they see your literature, or they see your ads, right? It gives you credibility, like, oh, Tony's a real candidate. He's really running. He's someone I should pay attention to. And then in politics, profitability is votes. It's volunteers. It's donations, right? It's not profitability in terms of making money. It's profitability in getting elected. So
right, yeah, exactly. And I think that was a great question. And that's how we get after it, though, is the candidates that are running have to be out there. And then when we're seeing other libertarians get inspired and consider running, then we need to support them and encourage them. And I think that's what I'm hoping to see here in Caddo Parrish, because I've heard some rumors, and we're keeping an eye out. But right now, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only libertarian that's out actively running. But I'm hoping in the next 3 to 6 months that change, and there could be a couple of us. And I think that would be definitely a great step for the Libertarian Party in Northwest Louisiana.
fantastic. And then Joe Hanush just commented, the best question of the interview: how can we help Tony's campaign?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So what? And thanks for that question. So what I've been telling people thus far is to go ahead and just share my posts, share my likes, and then tell me things that are important to you, so I can make sure that I'm capturing not only my message here in Caddo Parrish, but for the Libertarian Party. But on the financial side, I am looking to have my account actually officially set up. And then once it's out, I'll start publishing that. So right now I am active with the website, which you're sharing. Thank you. And also on Facebook and X. And I've been using that as a way of communicating and things like that. But once I actually get my account officially set up, then I'll start putting that out as well.
Fantastic. Well, once you start able to accepting donations, I'd love to have you back on. But thank you for everything that you're doing, and I appreciate all the comments that you make on all the other interviews that I've been doing, and I've been really excited to have you on. And it's even more exciting because after hearing you speak, and I see on your website you've got community servant, combat veteran, and calm leader, which I think that last one, calm leader, is something that more people should pay attention to, right? Because if you're justice of the peace, you need to be able to mediate. And sometimes there's neighbors that really don't like each other. Maybe they've gotten heated arguments, and you need calm heads to prevail in those situations.
Hey, that's true, and believe it or not, that's why I put it on there. And I'll say this: is serving in the military over 2 decades definitely gave me the opportunity to work through issues, whether it's combat issues, family issues of my subordinates, or anything in between. And that's one thing that's worked for me is typically when I'm trying to help someone, there's always emotion involved. And it doesn't work if both parties are emotional and the person that's supposed to be mediating it is emotional as well. So I'm very good at trying to do that and understand that you have a right to be emotional because you're in this situation, but I don't have that right in this situation. My job is to actually try to help you all work through this to a conclusion that everyone can walk away happy with. And I think every public servants should think like that, because it really bothers me when you see congressmen and senators and cabinet members all yelling at each other like they're in middle school, because they're leaders, and leaders have to be a little more poised so that they can make the right decision for the right reason and not based on emotion.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be leaders. Obviously, they are not. Because if they were, they wouldn't be yelling at each other. And they should be serving the people and coming to the best solution for everyone involved, for all of the stakeholders, whether it's at the ward level that you're running for, the city level, or the county parish level, or state level, or at the national level. We need to have people in office who are willing to come in without emotion and find the best solution that's going to be the solution that hurts the least amount of people, hopefully zero, right? To make sure that the whole situation is based on consent and voluntary interaction.
That's right. And I think that's what's been lost today in politics is people, they forget when they take an oath to the Constitution, and the Constitution is for the people. It's not to a political party, and it's not to a candidate or a specific leader. It's to the Constitution and everything in it. And we just have to get back to that, because nowadays we see people basically going over the Constitution, around the Constitution, and doing everything they can to not abide by the Constitution when they literally took an oath to defend it and to protect it and to actually abide by it.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, is there anything you'd like to say before we go ahead and end this? We're a little bit over, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make it quick. I just want to, hey, thank you again for the opportunity to be on your show. And thank you for doing your show, because I've had a great time watching your show and learning from other libertarian candidates. So I do appreciate it. And I think that's our message. We go out there, be proud libertarians, fight for the people, and support other libertarians that are doing the same.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for running, Tony, and I appreciate all your input, and I appreciate this conversation. I can already tell you have the heart of a servant leader, and I appreciate you running. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, sir. You have a blessed day.